take us through a presentation. Teacher Agnes, you are most welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Kaziva. I don't know whether we can mute those people who are making noise. As they enter, they should be maybe muted a little.
Okay.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm called Teacher Agnes, and I want to talk about majorly going back to school. I'll start by thanking you for being a part of the HELP schools. It's been good having you around, and we pray that whatever we've taught you is something that has been imprinted in your heads, is something that has impacted on you. It's something that you're going to roll out there when you go. Let people look at you and know that you are different from the others. Different because you've been impacted by the kind of knowledge that you get from the HELP school. As we go back to school, I just want to remind us of a few things. You know them, but I want to remind you, it's been a long holiday, 2 months. I want us to relearn to be students such that when we go back, we can fit in very well. So I'm sharing the normal things that we normally tell you as you're going to school. We have to keep on reminding you because we are teachers and we want to give, to prepare you to give that impression about us, which is good. And to always be that person that stands out and standing out because of what HELP has done to you. I want to start with the academics. Mr. Kaziva, you could share for me that one. I want to start with academics. When we go to school, I think the major reason why we go to school is to gain academic excellence. If you want to be the best academically, you first of all have to work hard. Nothing comes easy. To get anything out of anything, you really have to work hard to get at it. If you just sit and think that things will come to you, normally they do not. They do not. So you have to work and really work hard in order to excel. We are not talking about going through the system. We are talking about excelling. So to be excellent at anything, you really need to work hard at getting it, at perfecting it, at turning out to be the best that you can ever be. So when you go back there, please collect all the notes that we've given, collect all the notes that your teachers have been giving you, get all the textbooks and make use of them such that you excel. We would be very proud to see you in the papers that this is our child, and I think we'll be able to, amplify this. You're like, this is our own from HELP schools, and it was the best in this school, and it will be good for us. So when you go back, please remember to work hard. Don't just sit, don't be lazy. We have a stake in the results that you're going to bring. So when you go back, please work very, very hard. There is something that I'm calling value for money. Your parents are paying a lot of money to get you into school. When you come back, you're supposed to show the results. Is the report card that you're bringing back worth the money that they've injected in? They've paid millions. So the best you can do is to bring back for them a very good report card, which shows that you appreciate the money, and that is the value for what they've injected in you. So go back and remember your parents all the time. Remember those guardians. Remember the people that are sponsoring you, and be able to give back something. You may never buy for them anything. You may never repay that money. But if you bring back a report card to show that this is what you paid for and it is worth looking at, then I think that's the best gift you could give to the person who is sponsoring you. And that's what I'm calling value for money. Do your best and bring out a report card that shows that you indeed did your best. Then the other thing that I want to talk about before you can get academic excellence, you need to be disciplined. In life, there is nothing you can get without being disciplined. If you want to live healthy, you have to eat healthy. So it takes discipline to say, maybe I shouldn't eat the junk, I shouldn't eat this, I need to just eat this, even if it doesn't really seem palatable to you, but you want to be healthy. So do the right thing. That is discipline. Even if doing it makes you feel bad or doesn't make you feel really good, but as long as you're doing the right thing, and there is that something in you that drives you to do the right thing always, that's what we are calling discipline. So be disciplined. You know, there are school rules, there are things you're not supposed to do. There is a routine that you're supposed to follow at school. If you follow these religiously, then you will be a disciplined person. You're going to make maybe a timetable. You love maybe mathematics a lot and you hate literature, but you're supposed to do that subject also. If you decide to even read the literature you don't like because it's what is on your timetable, that's a sign of being disciplined. So I encourage you that as you go back, remember that discipline is the key to success. You don't have to do what you want to do all the time, but you have to do the right thing all the time. That's what equates you to a disciplined person. And I want to tell you, you'll be rewarded for that. So be disciplined, because we also have it as our value. The discipline is key to your academic excellence. Then you also have to be organized and orderly. You have to be organized and orderly. A person who is disorganized, a person who is disorderly cannot get anywhere. You'll find somebody, it's time for a test, but they don't even know where their notes are. They're like, maybe I wrote this, I don't know which book did I use to write this, or the other day maybe I used this, maybe I threw the book on the dining table and you can't even see it as you're packing to go back to school. Or you need something, but you don't know where you put it because you are disorganized and you're disorderly. For those who believe in the Bible, even God in the creation story shows us that organization and orderliness is a virtue. And the God you believe in is also orderly and organized. Remember, he created everything in the world within 6 days. As he was beginning his creation, the world was formless. There was nothing, you know? It had nothing totally. But on the first day, he decides to create something. I think he formed the seas. He divided the sea and the waters. Some waters were down, and then he also created the sky. And he saw that it was good, you know? Then on the second day, he does something else. I think that's when he divided earth and heaven. That was organized. Two things that he's doing every day, and he's doing it by word of mouth. He orders it and it comes. And at the end of the day, he says it's beautiful. And he's systematic. He brings evening, then he brings day. Evening, then day. And, you know, things are okay until the sixth day when he creates the human being. And on the seventh day, he rests. So he was also organized and he was very orderly. If we want to succeed in life, we need to be very organized. We need to be orderly, because even the Christ that we are imitating on earth was an orderly being. So organize your work, organize the way you're going to read by making a timetable, follow it, what I've been calling discipline, and do what you're supposed to do. Don't engage in things that you're not supposed to engage in, such that maybe they expel you from school. Would really feel hurt if that happened to you, and we pray that it never happens to you. Can we go to the second slide, Teacher Stephen, please? Okay, the second slide is talking about relationships. I know many of you are young children, you are teenagers, you are youths. You are in that stage when your feelings are at their peak. But we need discipline, we need self-control. Let me start with the girl-boy relationships. I know you're attracted to fellows of the opposite sex, which is very okay. We all go through that. As we were growing up, we also went through what you're going through, but it doesn't mean that every boy that you get attracted to or every girl that you get attracted to, you have to run to them and do, let me call it, bad manners. We need to have self-control, because this kind of relationship has its own implications. Some of the things that come out of it cannot be changed, and they are disastrous, and they will haunt you until the day you die. If you go on and engage in a boy-girl relationship, you may end up getting pregnant if you're a girl. And when you get pregnant, you want to continue with school. As a young mind, I know most times the thing that comes to your mind first is abortion. You will abort, but aborting is murder. This murder will affect you. It will torture you. It will make you guilty until the day you die also. Something will always come back and tell you, you killed a person, you killed a person. And everything that happens to you, you may be tempted to equate it to that killing that you did. You know, it's not so easy to kill a person. Even if that person is seemingly formless, is still in your body, as long as it has started becoming like a person, you've already started creating a person in you. So if you terminate that pregnancy, you are murdering somebody, and you are guilty of having spilled blood. It will haunt you. When you're young, you may not think about, you're like, I've killed something, I've not seen the baby, and you think it's okay. But you reach somewhere, you're looking for a child and you can't get a child, and you recall, and something will tell you the other child was also a child. You killed it, so let all the others also be killed. And it will haunt you. You'll feel guilty for the whole of your life. So to avoid it, let's do things at the right time. There is the time when you're supposed to get a partner. Let's wait for that time. And it doesn't take long. School takes a very short while, and you'll grow up, get as many partners as you can, and even get tired of them, and you're like, I want to remain single, I want to do this. For the boys, the same thing. It takes two to tango. To make a child takes two. So if something happens, you may also have to run away from home. You may have to run away from school. You may even lose your chance of being a student because you're on the run. You may end up in prison. So to avoid all this, because they will disorganize us, let's be disciplined, and let's shelve the relationships, the boy-girl relationships in particular. Some of you may end up maybe going for family planning. You're like, okay, I'll not get pregnant. And the man is also happy. Maybe you won't get pregnant. We're using this and this. But still, the tablets that you're taking, the injections that you're taking as a girl will have an effect on you. This is medication. It's something foreign in your body. It will affect you. It will affect you. For the boy, you may say, maybe for me, I don't take this and I'm okay, but you're not really okay. You may say, maybe you're using a condom, and then that thing is not 100%, it's permeable. Some things can see through. And at the end of the day, you will get something, maybe an STI, and you don't know where it will take you. But there is also that stress that you're doing the wrong thing. There is that guilt that I'm sinning against my God. There is that, I know a lot, psychologically, you're not okay and you cannot concentrate on your studies. Then it involves emotions. When you're in love with somebody, you give them a part of you. At your age, I don't think you can juggle through a relationship emotionally, and then the stress that books bring, and then the stress that school routine entails, and all those other things that we need in school. Let's do one thing at a go and do it perfectly, and then we'll do the other when the right time comes. So when you go back to school, please forget about the relationships and do what you're supposed to be doing. Then there are what we call deviant behaviors or deviant relationships. Maybe we start with the deviant behaviors. Things like masturbation. Somebody will think of playing with their private parts in order to get satisfaction. You're like, Madame Agnes was telling us, we shouldn't waste time relating. So let me get satisfaction on my own. I want to say this is addictive, and it's also a sin. I'm a counselor. I've had clients who tell me how masturbation has made them almost run mad. Somebody is in class, looks at a teacher and starts undressing the teacher psychologically. They're looking at this and imagining this is the person I would love to be like, or to be with, and so on. Soon they get charged. You see them running to the toilets, and they spend time in the toilets, trying to calm down themselves before they come to class. But even when they come back, they are disoriented and they will not understand anything. So this is a deviant method. We don't need to satisfy ourselves. God didn't want it to be that way. We went through it. I believe you can also go through it. It's about discipline. It's about self-control. Let's not engage ourselves in such funny behaviors, because they become addictive and they will make you be an outcast. You will not fit in society. You will reach that point when you look at your parent and you undress the parent and start thinking funny about your parent. You start imagining maybe how your parent would look like when they're like this or this. And because masturbation is to do with psychological things, you are imagining something in order to get a satisfaction, and it's not real. So I encourage us not to start on such things at all. Then there is fornication, because you have a girl or you have a boy, you say, let's do this, let's do this. When you start it, you will not want to stop, but you will not avoid the repercussions. So please, let's not start on such things. Then there is what we call teacher-student relationships. I know some students that are lured by their teachers into relationships. Your teachers are like your parents. They're supposed to help you struggle to, create a future for yourself. I can say for them, they're already in their future. As a student, they shouldn't derail you. Have some kind of assertiveness. Have that confidence to explain to your teachers that this is not right, but also use some critical thinking and know how to solve such a problem. Why don't you report? Why do you have to keep quiet about it? If there is this teacher that is disturbing you, you should be having a role model. You should be having somebody that you really trust. Get to that person and ask for their help. Tell them what you're going through so that they can help deter the other teacher from continuing to disturb you. But I've also realized that these days it's the children that entice the teachers. Maybe not anyone that is here, but there's so so many students that entice teachers because they are lazy, they don't want to work hard, so they think they will pay in kind. I'll exchange my body so that the teacher can give me marks, so that the teacher can help me do this or do that, so that the teacher can put up a lie for them. But even if they give you free marks, it wouldn't have helped you. You know, you're carving out a future where you need to use your brain, to use what you've learned, to use the knowledge that you get from school to do something. So if you've been helped out, if you've not worked hard and mastered what to do, then when you go out into the world, what will you do? You will definitely die. You'll die. I'm a staunch Christian. I want to say that if you bribing the teachers with sex in order to get marks, it is a sin. And our God will not allow you to go away with it. You're going to fail those exams because you are cheating. And cheating is a sin. I'm not cursing you, but I'm talking like a parent. I'm talking like a Christian. Let's do the right things. If they help you become a doctor when you don't qualify to be a doctor, in the hospital, what are you going to do? You're just going to kill people. And those people that you kill may be your parents. Maybe your parents, because it's your parent that will be sick and will be taken to hospital, and then you don't know what to do with the patient, and you'll give them the wrong things, and they will die. So let's work hard and do things the right way, such that we turn out to be those people that everybody will be proud of. Avoid the teacher-student relationships. Look at them as your parents. Try to get as much as you can from them and avoid the other things. Then there is something that has come out a lot the last 3-4 weeks, and that is homosexuality and lesbianism. The gay movement has come out strongly, and it is thriving majorly through the schools. I want to warn you that this is something really bad. This is something that is really terrible. Say no to homosexuality. God created a man and a woman. When you look at the creation story, that's what I'm going to look at. Creation story. At one time, God looked at man. You know, he had created the fish, the animals, and everything. But he didn't allow man to sleep with any of those until when he created a woman. Why didn't he create another man? I think he saw that it was necessary to get somebody of the opposite sex. Please, let's wait for the right time and let's get the right thing. Do things the orthodox way. I believe in the Bible. I don't know much about the Quran, but there is a story about Sodom and Gomorrah. In here were two angels that came and visited a man called Lot. When they visited Lot, because Sodom was full of people that were homosexuals, they saw these foreign men, angels turned into men, visiting Lot, and they came and asked Lot, we want those two men that have entered your house. Lot was like, no, that is bad. They were like, we told you we want those men. They threatened to break into his house. He pleaded with them and brought out his two daughters. They were beautiful daughters and they were virgins, and said, please go and defile these ones. Use them, even if it means using them up to death. Use them, but leave these men. The men were like, we told you we want the men, we don't want your girls. So they tried to break through. You know what God did? He first of all turned them blind, meaning he was so annoyed. The people who had surrounded the house and were trying to enter in forcefully were struck blind, meaning God hates it. You may be struck blind if you try to indulge in homosexuality, blind to reality, blind to sense, blind to anything that makes sense in this world. And you'll end up doomed completely because you are blind in all forms. When After making them blind, there is something that is said about God. They say his eyes became sour. They started itching. And that is the only sin in the Bible that affects God directly. His eyes are affected and they start itching. That is the height of the annoyance, the anger, the effect of homosexuality as a sin, even on God. We've seen people in the Bible sinning, others fornicated, others killed, others did what? God just gets annoyed with them and maybe punishes them, but is not affected directly. But the sin of homosexuality affects God. He doesn't want to look at it, meaning it's an abomination totally. Please don't be tempted because you'll annoy God. And what did he do? He decides to spray sulfur on the earth. Fire, brainstorm. This was like a furnace. He threw sulfur from heaven and it fell on the two cities of Gomorrah and Sodom, and everybody died, was burnt, even the innocent. You may say that for you are innocent and you're not affected. But when God is punishing people for a sin like that one, his first punishment was to burn everybody, the innocent and those who were really guilty. Even these small black flies in that community didn't survive, but they hadn't committed anything. All the animals, the goats, the dogs, talk about every creature that was living in Sodom and Gomorrah. The birds, everything was killed because of a sin. So don't look on as this is happening, or don't be tempted to also join in, because the repercussions will affect everybody. If you see somebody sinning, please warn them. I'm trying my best to warn you. Maybe when I go on the day of judgment, when they're judging me, I will tell God that, God, I try to tell the students that help that this was bad. So if he comes with his sulfur to rain it on the world, maybe I'm praying that he forgives me and spares me like he spared Lot. Let God spare you. If you see it, do something to stop it. And I'm saying, please don't try to indulge in it, because it really annoys God. And the relationship, please don't indulge in those deviant behaviors. Don't. They will disorganize your thinking. Like I say, the first punishment was blinding you. That kind of act will blind you from what you're supposed to do at school. It will blind you from looking at the teacher and answering what they want you to answer. It will blind you from the norms that school expects of you, and you'll turn out an outcast. You'll be cast, you'll be an abomination to the soil, to the school, to your family, and everybody. So as we go, let's think of this, and we shouldn't indulge in relationships. Let's wait for the right time. And when the right time comes, let's engage with people of our kind. When God was creating, I said he was organized. He created birds of a kind. You would see a crow going with a crow. You would see a frog going with a frog. You'll see an eagle going with an eagle. Okay? So a man going with a woman, because that's what God created. He was organized and orderly. Let's also be organized. Teacher Stephen, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. As you go back to school, there is something else that has besieged us. Those are the drugs and substance abuse. During the long COVID season, people were depressed. People didn't know whether that was the end of the world. People were not sure of what the future held for them. So they started certain things. Even the parents relaxed, and many of our youths entered into drug abuse and substance abuse. You know, some people think that you get gratification from drugs and you forget some of your problems and so on. I want to say that these ones just heighten the stress. Drugs and substances are stressors. They heighten, they make you see clearly what you're trying to run away from. You know, I've seen people that lose loved ones and they soak themselves in drink. You take alcohol thinking you're going to forget. But normally, the people who drink a lot are the ones that will start even crying out even more and more. They will cry, they will wail because the reality sinks in even more. So it doesn't help. Personally, I've ever taken substances. I would drink myself silly. I would smoke at one time. But I thank God, I realized in time that this was a wastage of time. From experience, I want to say that it doesn't help. It doesn't help, and it is a wastage of time. So don't take those drugs. There's some students that come with drugs at school, they sell to others, and at the end of the day, there is chaos in school. To those that are indulging in drugs, you take marijuana, you take cocaine, you take pasparum, now you're taking herbs and so on, and you're taking gray hair, smoking. You put the things in, you go to barbers and get gray hair, pack it in pieces of paper and try to smoke. You taking Cuba, the things I even sold, I think, in supermarkets. And, they are of no use. You think you're running away from something, you feel you're feeling high there, but you'll again come back and you'll be very low compared to the state you were in. So don't try to intoxicate your head. You're still young. There is a lot that you have to think. You are the future of this country. You're supposed to be planning for us. For us, we are old now. You're supposed to take over the mantle from us. But if you disorganize your brain, you'll become disoriented and the future will be really gloom for all of us because we will not have any youth helping us. I want to say that drugs stop your thinking. You stop thinking right. And in the process, you do so many things. But it also makes people mad. If you go to our psychiatry units, go to Butabika, it's full of young people who are mad. Even on the street, we have so many energetic people that are mad. They're moving and throwing stones, moving naked, doing all kinds of things because their brains have been disoriented due to taking drugs or taking too much alcohol. You'll end up sick and you reduce your life expectancy because you're doing it, you're reducing it consciously. I want to warn you, as our children at help, that this is not the right way. We want you tomorrow to be our leaders. We want you tomorrow to be the doctors. We want you to be the lawyers and to help us who would have, weakened. And if our youths are not thinking, who will think for us when we get foreign attacks? Who will think for us? Who will fight for us? It's you people. And at the moment, we are preparing you to be that. So don't be derailed. Drugs are dangerous. Drinking is dangerous at this time. Please, there is nothing good in it. Maybe you would say, let me test. I want to say the first time you test, you'll want to take a little more. The third time, you'll take even a little more to get the same kind of fulfillment that you got the first time. And you'll continue. Then you reach a state when nothing can affect you and you just become mad because you'll take and take and nothing is happening to you. You're doing all sorts of funny things, but you're not feeling that highness that you really wanted. So at the end of the day, you'll overdose and you will just collapse and we will lose you. Drugs are not good. Drugs will not help you. Drugs will make your parents wail and cry because you would have let them down. Don't abuse drugs. Maybe if you feel you're being tempted or you're already in it, get to somebody that you know. Get help. If you're in school, you could get to your teachers. If you are maybe in a day school and you have access to a phone, you could get in contact with any of us. You have our phone numbers. We could help you. But you can also get help from your parent. Explain to your parent that I have this problem. They can take you to a rehabilitation center and you will be helped. Drugs are terrible. They are killing everybody. They are killing everything. So I want to warn us as we go back to school, let's concentrate. You cannot read when you are high. At times you take drugs saying, I want to remain awake for a long time and read and read and read. Fine, you'll remain awake, but the brain will have been disoriented and you'll not understand what you're reading. So you'll spend the whole night without sleeping, but you'll also spend that whole night doing nothing because you'll not be able to read and internalize. Please, let's run away from drugs. That's my plea. Don't be tempted by anyone. If somebody comes for you, you have that spirit of discerning that drugs are bad. So run away from such a person because you have a target. You know what you want from school. You know why you've left the comfort of home to come to a boarding school, maybe, and eat portion and beans. You know why you're walking that long distance to go to school. You know why it's raining on you as you're moving to go to school, and you can't afford to lose everything and suffer like that. And at the end of the day, you go away with nothing. Let's go to the next slide, teacher Stephen. Okay, at this moment, I want to talk about life skills. Life skills are these skills that are not taught in class. You won't have a subject teaching life skills, but they are skills that we need because we need them every day. These skills that we need to have in order to survive in life. You know, they will not teach them to you, but you need to look at around you. Look around you and see that I think I need this in order to survive. I'm going to talk briefly about several of them, and then we see. They are desirable skills for full participation in everyday life. We need them. You have to be endowed with them wherever you go, such that you can use them to save yourself in case something happens to you. Maybe as I'm trying to explain what they are, you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about. The first one is the first life skill. I don't know whether we have it on the slides, teacher Stephen. Yes. The first one that I wanted to start with is the third one, self-awareness. Bullet 3, self-awareness. It's what I want to start with. Self-awareness is knowing who you are. You should know your strength. You should know your weaknesses. You should know maybe your threats, things that threaten you. You should be able to know the opportunities you have and that kind of thing. Under self-awareness, you need to know, for example, maybe to start with, you should know your name. I'm Agnes, I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, yeah, that is self-awareness. My parent is called so and so, my grandfather is so and so, we live in this and this, my clan is this, and all that is part of self-awareness. Because there are certain things that happen to us because of where we come from. I might be maybe a short-tempered person, but this one runs maybe in our clan, and they know that everybody from that clan is short-tempered. Maybe everybody from that clan is this. So if I know something about myself, I know I belong to this clan and this is what normally haunts us and that it is bad, I will learn how to deal with it such that I'm able to live with others amicably. You may know that maybe you are this person who gets annoyed very easily. You get annoyed very easily and you can't stand to be opposed. When you're annoyed, you want everybody to know you are annoyed and you can't stand anything less than what you think is the right thing. And maybe you know that about yourself. That is self-awareness. So if you see people arguing about something, if you're really that person that knows well about yourself, you're aware of yourself, you will just walk away. Because, you know, the moment they start arguing and you join in, you might get annoyed. And when you're annoyed, you don't do anything good. So jump away before the anger comes in. Run away such that you don't join the argument. But if you're not aware of that problem, you're not aware of that weakness in you, you will jump into every argument and you'll end up getting stressed. You'll end up, you know, getting into conflicts with so many people because you cannot control your temper. But if you know, I can't control my temper, I'm the short-tempered person, and I can't stand somebody opposing what I say, then you will not indulge in any argument. You see an argument coming, you disappear. You're a thief. You know that whenever you get an opportunity, you can pick something that doesn't belong to you. So why do you stay alone? Why would you go in a place where you think you'll be tempted to steal? Move with a friend. Move in a group such that even if you see something, admire it and want to pick it, you cannot, because you know your friend is going to see you and your friend will definitely report you. So by moving in a group, you know yourself, you're aware of your weakness, and you're trying to stop that weakness from taking advantage of you. Self-awareness is something that is really, really, really good. If you know you are good at something, maybe I'm good at public speech, then you'll come out and help, maybe do something that needs to be publicly said, that everybody in the public needs to do. Maybe you're good at debate, like, okay, I can speak well, let me debate and help uplift my school and help advertise myself and help make myself visible and maybe open opportunities for myself. So self-awareness is very important. Know the kind of person that you are in order to be able to avoid landing into trouble, but also in order to be able to tap into the opportunities that can come your way. You're at school, maybe you're not a very fast learner, but you are good in athletics. Make sure you do the athletics very well, such that it can somehow compensate for the academic failures that you have somewhere. And somebody may be, you know, intrigued to say, let me help this child because this child is very good at this. I should help them excel at this also. You know, you've made yourself visible because of self-awareness. I think it's the first life skill that we need. Nobody will teach you that you're a thief, please stop stealing. No, it starts with you. You need to know the kind of person that you are in order to help yourself become better. The second one, now we can follow the order. I just wanted to start with self-awareness. The other one is the problem-solving skill. You don't have to read a book in order to learn how to solve the so many problems that we find in life. But you need to think quickly and very fast of a solution to any problem that comes by. You know, this is something that you need to learn with time. Look around you, see how others are behaving, how others have solved certain problems, and you also copy or even look at the things that are around you and be able to learn how to do certain things. For instance, you are in the house alone, a snake comes in the house, and maybe you can't kill it. You can't kill it. You're really scared, and I don't know. What can you do? You could maybe look. You could look maybe for paraffin, put in water and pour in, because you know that funny smell, will help push the snake out without you even killing it, but you know that it will go away. That is a problem-solving skill. I can't get a stick and kill it, but I can get something that will repel it out of my room. So you do that, and that is a skill. Maybe that nobody else will teach you, but something, you know, circumstances have forced you to learn. So we need such skills. There's so many problems that you'll encounter when you go to school. So learn to solve your problems and solve them amicably. Then there is the skill of sharing with others. We all know that the more you give, the more you attract people to give you. If you don't give, you will not get. You know, when I was growing up, we didn't have flasks, and we would use teapots to give out tea to the visitors. So they'll send you the young ones to go to the sitting room and pour tea. And they used to use these very small mugs. They were really tiny. So you get your teapot and pour tea in the people's whatevers, and then you move out. But after a short while, definitely that thing, somebody will gulp 3 gulps and the thing is empty. So they will tell us to peep and see whose what? Whose cup is empty, such that we can go and refill. If your cup was not empty, we would not refill. Same applies to giving. If you want to get, you have to empty. So open your hands and give out in order for you to get something. But if the hands are still full, nothing will be poured inside. So give and you will get. If you don't give, you're full, your feast is full with so many things, you'll not be able to get. Sharing with others is a very good thing. Then assertiveness. Assertiveness is to do with helping those around you to know what you want. It entails being focused. You know what you want. You're going to school because you want something from there. Maybe I'm going to school because I want to become a doctor. How does assertiveness come in? I know I want to become a doctor. It entails knowing how to become a doctor. What does it take to become a doctor? I need to do these subjects. I need to be focused. I need to read hard, because doctors don't have a lot of time to play around. They have a lot to read. They have to concentrate a lot. They have to do certain things. So you have to, first of all, be focused, know what you want. After knowing what you want, help those around you to know that this is what you want, such that they don't derail you from it. You know, if you're reading in order to become a doctor, and then somebody comes, as you're reading, they start, you know, whispering these funny things to you, they start banging KB, reminding you of this, telling you about a film and so on, they will derail you. But an assertive person will be able to tell those friends that, for me, this is what I want, and I don't want any disturbances. When I'm reading, I don't entertain noise. I don't entertain person to do this and this, so that they don't come into your space. They allow you do what you want. That is what we mean by being assertive. You know what you want, you know how to get it, and you make the people around you know that this is what I want, and you shouldn't come in to derail me. I want to remain focused, because the moment you come and try to take me off course, I will deal with you. And they should know how you will deal with them. That's what we call being assertive. But many young people misinterpret assertiveness and think it is aggressiveness. You want something, you've told people this is what you want, and you're trying to get to it, then somebody gets into your way. You're like, maybe you turn violent, beat up the person, do this, and because they're doing what you don't want, or you even be abusive, you even turning against your parents. I've had one tell a dad, For you, you are silly. You don't know what the things mean. Science is the way to go. You're telling me to do this. You know, I really felt hurt and I had to come in as a teacher. I talked to this young man. I said, now that is aggression. It's no longer being assertive. Simply make others know what you want emphatically, but don't turn it into aggression. Let's leave the respect there. Respect is another skill. You need to respect your parents because whatever you are and whatever you do is because of them. If your mom had aborted you when you're still in her stomach, you wouldn't be there standing and shouting at people. Even if they've rejected you and refused to pay your fees, respect them. Because without them, you wouldn't be. You know? You don't know how they nursed you. Eh? You know, touching somebody's poo-poo, susu, doing this, breastfeeding you, maybe starving such that you can eat and so on, is something really, it's a sacrifice. Holding you in somebody's stomach for 9 months, it is something that you need to be grateful for. If you can't respect them for anything, respect your parents for that, for creating you, because without them, you wouldn't be. So even if you're assertive, please don't turn aggressive to your parents. Respect them. Even if you're paying your own fees and they're not paying the fees for you, but they are part of the brain that you have. I don't know a lot of science, but it's their genes, I think, or their hormones. I don't know how they call them. It's something from them that was used to form your brain. And now you look at everybody as bogus and you are the best person that there is. Don't mistake assertiveness for aggressiveness, most especially where your parents are concerned. That's what I'm trying to emphasize. Then there is another skill that we call self-esteem. Self-esteem is to do with loving yourself. You love yourself. You learn to use yourself to be the best that you can be. Everybody, you know, God was a good person and has always been a good being. He gives everybody something very good, and he gives somebody something that is not really very good, or so we think. But you can't have it all. Where you have something, okay, you may have something that so many people admire and would love to have but don't have. But also you have something that you don't really like about yourself. I want to say it's normal. But when you have esteem, you learn to love yourself the way you are because you cannot change much about yourself. And for something that you cannot change, I want to say, forget about it. Emphasize what is good about you, such that what is not so good about you can be hidden within the goodness that you've enhanced. I never forget when I talk about self-esteem, I never forget what happened to me as I was growing up. Okay, I wish somebody could mute those people. Okay, I wanted to say that as I was growing up, I was this very fat girl, and we didn't want fat people. You know, they would call me all sorts of names. They would call me the grandma of the class. They would call me, I don't know what else they used to call me, but so many ugly things. And I would cry myself silly because I didn't like the names. So I started starving myself. I started running I would wake up, I was in a boarding school and our dormitory was near the field. I would wake up at 5, go and run 7 times around the field, and then I would eat no food the whole day. I would only eat supper. So I was forced to fast and fast and fast. If I were to eat, I would eat hard corns, real hard corns without even any oil. These ones during our time would make them and smear them with ash such that they become a little soft. That's what I would take with water. But the more I did that, the more I became fatter and the more I became round. And it really hurt me so much when nothing was changing and the abuses were becoming more and more. It's until that time when somebody told me, you cannot change this about yourself, but there's some things that are good about you. I was a very good debater. So he said, you can debate. I was also very good at drama acting. So I would cram all those literature books that were on the syllabus and would act them and I would impress people on stage. Soon, people stopped seeing this round thing and started seeing an actress. They stopped seeing this round thing and saw this very good debater. I was hoping to bring in medals for the school. I was helping to uplift the name of my school. And soon people forgot about my figure and started looking at those good things about me. I want to encourage us to love ourselves, enhance the good that you can, and hide what you think is not so good. But if you enhance the goodness in you, the other one will automatically get lost from the eyes of the people. We normally see the goodness within people because of what they do than what we think they look like physically. So enhance your self-esteem. Love and utilize what God has endowed you with, and the rest will fall in shape. Then communication, this is talking, expressing what you see, what you feel, what you want to come out. When you talk, there is a lot of trash that you get out of yourself. If there is something that is hurting you and you talk about it, you know, as counselors, our motto is there is therapy in talking. There is healing in talking. When you talk about something, you heal. When you talk about something, the pressure goes and you become okay. So if there is something that is hurting you, if there is something that has gone wrong, please talk about it. Please talk about it. And that's what we are calling communication, and things will be okay. You'll get some relief and you'll be able to read. You're going away from home. There might be something that has been bothering you from home. Maybe there is a problem that you couldn't handle. Maybe as you're going, there is no money at home and you're going without any money. Maybe you see, maybe you were tempted to fornicate with somebody and you fear you might be pregnant. Maybe there's so many things that you people go through when you get to school or even before you go to school. Confide in somebody, talk about it, and maybe you'll come up with a solution. We call that communication. Talk, don't die alone. But don't tell everybody again about what you're going through. Get one person, 2 people that you trust. And I would prefer you would confide in your parents. Talk to your dad, talk to your mom, tell them what you're going through, talk about it. And the parent will feel respected, by the way, when you confide in them, but you'll also feel safe. And I want to say there is no safer place for you to hide your problem than with your parent. At times they get annoyed, but that anger is because they love you too much. They get annoyed, but I know they can't kill you because you are theirs. They molded you, though there are a few that are not really good. But those are very few, like I've said. Majority of parents love their children and would love to do the very best that they can to help these children. So confide in them, use them if you still have them. If you don't have a parent, or if you don't trust your parents, there should be somebody elderly that you trust that can help you. Then I want to talk about critical thinking. Somebody will convince you at school to do something. I want to say, before you do it, think about it critically before you can do anything. Now, I'm going to use something to do with relationships, teacher-pupil relationships. A teacher tells you, help me bring those books to my house. You carry them from class or maybe from the staff room, and you're taking them to the teacher's house. Then you get to the sitting room. Instead of putting them in the sitting room, the teacher tells you, no, carry them up to my bedroom. It would be only a foolish student that would see a table in the sitting room and refuse to put the books in the sitting room, but proceed up to the bedroom. The moment you go there, I think you know what you're looking for. It entails critical thinking. Think about something before you do it. Let's not fall into traps with our eyes wide open. Let certain things happen to us as accidents. But if you're pushing yourself directly into the problem, then it's unthinkable. You would make us struggle to forgive you. You go to class and you put on a very short skirt, you open all your thighs to your teacher and entice them, and the next day the teacher is disturbing you, or maybe the teacher is raping you. You know, if I see how you are dressed and how you had exposed everything about you to this person before you were raped, you would make life hard for me to sympathize with you, you know. Don't get into these traps, like, you know, just like that. Mind the way you dress, and mind the way you behave. You're with a male teacher and you're doing all these funny things in front of the teacher, and you're calling for something. And when it comes, you may get shocked, but I think you shouldn't even be shocked because you called for it, you know. Let's do some bit of thinking, critical thinking, and let's not do things that we think can land us into trouble. Decision making. Remember, everything you make, you need to face the repercussions. So when you're making a decision, when you're deciding on something, think about it. Know the outcomes. You cannot eat your cake and have it also. You decide to maybe relate with the teacher at this stage, and you expect to leave school unscathed. Really? I think it's impossible. So for everything that we do, for every decision that we agree upon, let's know that there are repercussions that we need to face. And we need to be responsible for the outcomes of our decisions. Don't do something silly. You're not reading, you're escaping, you're doing funny things that others are in class. And then at the end of the day, you fail and you start crying. Whom are you crying for, really? That's what you sowed, and it's what you are reaping. You were lazy, you wasted time. So when you reap the bad results, I think that is what you deserve, because you didn't put in a lot of effort. So you can't reap like the person who really put in much effort. Before you make any decision, you decide to do anything, please, let's think of the repercussions. And then we are like, I'm ready for the outcome. Say that when it comes, it doesn't come as a shock, but you know that I asked for it, I called for it, and here it is. Allow me to talk about conflict management. The moment you stay with somebody, you're two or more, we know you're different. There is bound to be a conflict in one way or the other. You will not always think the same. You will not have the same interests. You will step on each other's toes, whether you like it or not. However much you are in love with each other, even married couples, you know, there is a time when you disagree, when somebody thinks something different from the other, when you're bound to clash. But it doesn't mean that because you're not thinking the same, then we need to fight about it. We need to learn how to manage our conflicts. If there is a misunderstanding between us, how do we handle it? How do we handle it? If we learn that there should be a solution to every conflict, and that solution doesn't have to be something that is violent, it doesn't have to be something that will have the other, then you'll sit at a table and agree on how to solve it. I'll tell you a story. One day in the school that I was teaching, and it was a girls' school, there was no water in the school for 2 days, and the girls got fed up. So they got their jerry cans, they got their buckets and basins and sticks and moved around the compound shouting, "We want water, we want water, we want water." You know, all the teachers got scared and ran away. Then somebody called me and said, "Mentor, you're a friend to these children. Why don't you come and see what is happening?" I was like, "What is happening?" There is chaos because there is no water. And we don't have a solution right now. We've been to national water, and as if there is no water. We want to think of what to do, but the children cannot allow us to think because they seem to be riotous now. So I came, and I came in a friendly way. I pretended to be on their side. And indeed, I was on their side because I also needed the water. And I pretended I didn't know what was happening. I was like, "What is the matter? Why is everybody shouting? And why are you carrying those jerry cans?" They're like, "Mentor, don't you know that there is water? It's now 2 days and there is no water in the school." I was like, "Okay, so what are you doing? Are you shouting water, water?" He said, "Yes." And I'm like, "What do you think will happen when we shout water? Do you think the water?" "No, those people will understand and come and do it." Okay. I also started shouting. I told them to come. We were in a group. So it was like a parade. I stood up and they knew there was a teacher, and they could shout whatever they wanted to say to that teacher. So they came. I was used to listening to their problems, so they trusted me, and we're like, "I think we can do anything. This one will not report us. This one will not allow us to be expelled," you know, that kind of thing. So I also asked somebody to give me a bucket, because they were all shouting, "We want water." They gave me a bucket, they gave me a stick, and I also started banging the bucket and shouting, "We want water, we want water." You know, we all shouted. They were excited because I joined them. They shouted them more, they shouted them more. And I didn't show like I had any solution. I was also just shouting, "We want water." Then I think sense came into some of them and said, like, "Why is this one shouting? We thought she would tell us to stop shouting, but she's also shouting with us." So they started stopping. They stopped shouting, some of them. One by one, they stopped shouting and were looking at me. But for me, I was continuing, then soon I realized that all of them were quiet and looking at me. There is something that had been going around, and they realized this woman was up to something. So they stopped and looked at me. I continued hitting, hitting. When I realized they had all stopped, I asked them, "Hey, you guys, why have you stopped? I thought we were going to shout and water would come." They're like, "No, madam." I'm like, "What?" "I think we don't have to shout. And even if we shouted, water would not come." So I was like, "What do you think we can do?" They're like, "We have to find a way of getting water." I'm like, "You told me by shouting we'll get the water. So I joined you because I also want the water to come." They laughed and said, "But madam." I'm like, "Okay. I think we've all realized that by shouting and hitting our buckets, the water doesn't come." They're like, "Yes." So I'm like, "What do you think can bring the water? What do you think can bring the water?" They started giving me good ideas. One was like, "I think we can tell the head teacher to bring the school truck and they go get water for us from somewhere. I think we can get our jerry cans and get the cooks to go and bring water. I think we can do this and get the group employees to do this and this and this." You know, they gave me so many good ideas. So I told some of the leaders, can somebody get a piece of pen, a piece of paper and pen, write down those ideas, what we want to do. They wrote them down and said, who can address this? They're like, I think it's the head teacher. I'm like, okay, now I want two representatives. Let these two get our document and the suggestions that we have. We go to the head teacher and see if we can get water. They were like, yes, they clap and say that was okay. So they got the two people, they wrote what we had agreed upon. We went to the head teacher and gave in our suggestions. Within no time, the head teacher had called the police and they brought for us water in their tank, water tank. So we filled all our jerry cans and whatnot, and the problem was solved. What am I driving at? Conflict management. We need to sit, think about certain things, and then agree on a plausible solution for it. As we go back to school, let's not just join the chaotic fellows. Let's not join in rebellions. Let's not join in riots and start destroying buildings, start burning buildings, start throwing this and this because we think we are too annoyed and we are the first people to get annoyed in the world. Everybody gets annoyed, but you have to sit at a round table and agree on something and manage a conflict. A person that has gone through help should be able to do that. And that's what we are training you. That is the kind of luggage that we're putting into your bags to take to school. Not the riotous kind, but this, a violent-free conflict management situation. Look at things critically and find the best possible solution in the circumstances without fighting about it. I want to end by talking about empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in the shoes of another person. You look at this person that is struggling with something and you're imagining you are the one that is going through it. So you also imagine what you would want another person to do for you while you're in that state. And then you're forced to do that to the person who is struggling. I don't know whether you get it. I'm looking at somebody that maybe they've told us to go and photocopy notes. The person doesn't have money. The person is just there, needs the notes, but cannot photocopy them. But for me, I'm in position to photocopy. I don't know whatever copies I would want to, but I can't. So imagine yourself, you're that person who came without any pocket money, who came without, I don't know what, and can now not even study because they don't have the notes. If you were that person and that person was in your position, what would you have loved that person to do for you? Then you go ahead and do it. I would have loved that person to spare a few shillings or a few coins and print for me also a copy of the notes that they've asked for and offer it to me. Then I would say thank you. So do that to that person. That's what I'm calling empathy. You see somebody that is sick, cannot even get out of bed to bathe, cannot even go out to the dining to get food, cannot, they're really helpless. First think, if you were in their position, what would you want another person to do for you? And after getting it, please do it for that person. Put yourself in another person's shoes. That's what I'm calling empathy. It's a very good trait. Nobody goes without noticing any form of kindness. They may pretend they've not seen, they may pretend they've not heard, but they will never forget that kindness that you've imparted to them. And at one time, they will appreciate. I don't know, I've told you so many stories, but there is this story when I was at school. We used to sleep in cubicles, and I happened to sleep in a cubicle alone for a full term. Then in second term, they bring a new girl, and we were supposed to share a room with that girl. But when I looked at the girl, I judged the girl, and to me, the girl looked ugly. I had judged her as ugly and I didn't want to be with her in the same room. So I told the warden to get rid of her. The warden told me, this is not your father's house, so you can't dictate the person to stay within a room. I was forced to stay with a girl. I asked the warden to help me and take that girl to another room and help me get somebody else from another room to come and stay with me. I just didn't want to stay alone, but I just didn't want to stay with this particular person. The warden refused and said, you have to learn to live with others and not to judge them. This one is a new person. You don't know anything about them. So you have no reason whatsoever to refuse to stay with them. So they forced the girl into my room. And inside me, I was like, okay, I will show you. I decided to make life hard for this girl, so that the girl would pack her boxes and get out of the room by herself. And that's exactly what I did. And when I was growing up, I was cheeky and I could do these bad things and bully everybody around me. So I bullied the girl. I did all kinds of nasty things that you would imagine a person doing to you. I would create funny accidents and do funny things to her. And I thought she would get annoyed and move out. But the more I was bad, the more this girl was good. She was so kind to me. You know, you got out in the morning to go and bathe, you find when she has even laid your bed. When you come back to class, she has already collected water, and the jerrycan has water, the bucket has water. You delay somewhere, maybe banging Kebi with a friend, you find she has bought for you food. We used to smuggle food out of the dining and bring it in the dormitory. You'd find that she has even brought for you food. She has bought for you appetizer, you know. We had those funny things we would add in our food to make it more appetizing. She would buy on her own money. Eh? She would bring for you hot water in a flask and keep it for you. And, you know, the girl was so sweet. Over the weekends, you'd find she has even washed for you your clothes and ironed them and they're on your bed. And you're like, wow. So after like 2 weeks, the bad things that I'd done to this girl started haunting me because the girl was paying back badness with goodness. Bad as I was, I soon realized the beautiful heart that this girl had. And I stopped seeing the badness. I stopped seeing the ugliness. And I could only see this beautiful heart. So don't stop doing good things for others. You may be able to touch even somebody as evil as they was and turn them around to become better people. And that's what I'm calling empathy. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and then somehow it will come back to you. Okay, I want to talk, teacher Stephen. Next slide. Yes, I want to talk about godliness. At Help, we believe in God. At Help, we do all things being guided by God. We want you to go back to school and show this godliness to the people you're going to stay with. Let the God likeness in you be seen by everybody at school. I want you to pray a lot because we live in a rotten world, and without prayer, you can get nowhere. When you wake up in the morning, first thing is pray. Pray that God gives you the wisdom, the knowledge and understanding to deal with the day's challenges. As you're entering class, you're like, God, I want to be the best that I can be. Give me the wisdom that I need to understand everything that I'm going to be taught. Give me the wisdom to deal with everybody that I meet. I don't have to conflict with anybody, God. I don't have to do this with anybody, God, but I want to be a perfect God-like person that will uplift your name. You know, you're doing everything, but you're telling God, God, please come and be in it. God, please come and be in it. I want to assure you that nothing will go wrong. Even when something tries to go wrong, God will come in and everything will be right. Evangelize, not by preaching in class. If it's worship, worship, but evangelize through your goodness. Act good, and people will see your goodness through what you do. You'll be raising the name of God high up there. Praise and worship when it's time. Don't be a fanatic. You know, at school, we have a timetable, we have a routine, we have roles to play. Do the right thing at the right time. It doesn't hurt. As you're doing fatigue, maybe you're cleaning the toilet, as you're praising God. You're like, God, thank you for giving me the hands that can clean and make this place clean. It's like that so many people will be saved from being sick. You know, you're doing your work, you're praying, but you're not a fanatic who will say, okay, I'm taking 10 days without eating because we are doing exams. You go into an exam room and you faint from there, you collapse. They take you to hospital because you were fasting and you think God should bring a miracle. God blesses the works of your hands. So if you didn't read, if you didn't work hard, don't expect a miracle because there is nothing that God is going to bless. So don't become a fanatic. God was a worker and a hard worker. Go to school to work hard, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't praise him. Praise him through what you are doing. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. You don't have to be an extremist. You don't have to go and say, I'm fighting for food. You know, this school is telling us we shouldn't fast. And for me, my Bible tells me I need to fast if I need to, make things move like this and this and this. Please, God can fight for himself. You don't have to fight on behalf of God. He's a better fighter than you are. So do what you're supposed to do. And as you're doing it, you are proclaiming the word of God through your deeds. Don't be fanatical. Then there is what we call religious prostitution in schools. You leave home, you're Muslim. By the time you come back, you're telling us you were born again. That is prostitution. Stay where your parents have guided you to be. And when you get to that time, when you're independent, you tell them, yes, dad, mom, you brought me as this. Please, thank you. Now I'm grown up and I want to do this. And they'll say, go with our blessings. I think that's the right thing to do. Don't go to school and be, derailed or changed by somebody. I won't say derailed, but don't move from one religion to another thinking this is where we have miracles, this is where things move like this is where, that kind of thing. Stay with one religion that you've brought out to believe. Respect everybody else's religion, but stick to yours until that time when you think you are independent and can do whatever you want. But going to school a Muslim, coming back a Catholic, going to school a Catholic, coming back an Anglican, going to school an Anglican, coming back a born again, that is religious prostitution. And it will destabilize you because normally it comes with fanatism. Let's not be derailed, of course, because of religion. In any case, Christ had no religion. So we are trying to be Christ-like. We don't have to belong to a given religion. We don't have to belong to a given religion. Then many schools have a foundation body that is attached to a certain religion. If you decide to go to school, or if you go to a school that has a foundation body that belongs somewhere, please respect it. Respect it. You're an Anglican, you go to a Muslim school, and you hear them praying, calling on Allah to do this and so on. Don't attack them. Listen to them. As they're praying, they are whatever, I don't know how they call it. You know the God you believe in. You're also silently praying to your God. By the time what do they call it? Wow, whatever. By the time it's over, you've also been utilizing that time to talk to your God. Do you have to care about it? And you saw schools of your faith. Why didn't you go to them? But that you decided to choose that particular school, respect them. You'll not have any trouble. You'll get your education and complete well without antagonizing anybody. You go into a Catholic school, you may be an Anglican. as they are getting their rosary and praying and so on, you don't understand the rosary. For you, what you understand is something else. Call on your God silently. As they pray, you're also praying internally. God hears, knows what is on your heart. So continue praying silently and allow them to pray the way they feel is the best way for them to pray. Don't antagonize. I want to emphasize respect the foundation body. Respect the foundation body. Okay, I want to talk about HIV, and I want to say that it is still real. HIV is still real. We are talking about other diseases. We've gone to COVID, we've gone to Ebola, we've gone to war, and we are forgetting COVID because we think we know everything about it. I want to remind you it's real. If you go on fornicating, if you are homosexual, by the way, it's more common among the homosexuals and the lesbians because they have a tendency of sharing. They go with anybody. They have this tendency of having, I don't know, that widespread relationship kind of thing. They will share partners and do things as a group and so on. And they don't normally take time off to check to see if they're okay. For these other normal relationships, man, woman, before you marry, you first go for a checkup. But if it's girl, girl, boy, boy, they normally forget. I think as they're looking to each other as being the same and so on, they tend to forget. So HIV is thriving amongst those people who are doing that deviant kind of sexual behavior. Sex is real, rather, HIV is real. Abstain. You are students, abstain. The right time will come and you'll get your partner and do whatever you want to do. Yes, teacher Stephen. Next slide. Okay, I want to talk about respect. Respect is key if you want to live peacefully, but it starts with you. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. You know, what you give out is what you get, and what people see in you is what they'll give you. If I see you as someone that is cheap, I'll treat you as cheap. If I see you as somebody that is godly, I'll also pretend to be godly in front of you. If I see you as somebody that is chaotic, maybe I'll also act chaotic when I'm with you. So respect yourself. If you respect yourself, I'll have no other alternative but to respect you also. Then respect others. Respect others. You're in same dormitory, somebody's shoes are there, you decide to take them without asking for permission. They are not yours. You're not related, but even if you're not related, this is personal thing. It's my shoe. Why would you put it on without me giving it to you? You come and use my towel without my permission. You come and use my sweater. Okay? Or you jump and borrow my uniform without asking for it. That is a lack of respect. Respect other people's property. What is not yours is not yours. If you really feel you need it, ask that person to help you with it. And if they say no, it's their right. Please accept it in good faith. Respect the elders. I know we have a tendency of giving nicknames to our teachers, giving nicknames to all the people who work in school, and we even nickname our parents. We nickname our parents. I think that is a lack of respect. It's a lack of respect. We need to respect elders if we also want to be respected. If I'm your mom, I'm giving you everything you need to go to school, but you don't respect me, I think I'll also not respect you whatever you ask for. You played with me to get where I will not respect. You suggest to me something, I'll not respect it. I'll refuse because you also lack respect for me. But for me, I wouldn't even bother to give you whatever you ask for if you don't respect me. I'm this strict person. I'm strict about respect. And I try to respect myself such that it can ooze out to others. That by the time you come to me, you have nothing else to do but to respect me. You'll come and I'll ask you, yes, how can I help you, young lady? Good afternoon, young lady. Eh? Good afternoon, young man. You know, I can even call you sir. How are you, sir? But I know you're just but a student, and I'm over 4 times older than you. But I'll say that to you to show you that I respect you. I'll stop whatever I'm doing. I'll put my phone aside and look at you straight in the eyes and show you that, yes, I'm here for you. That is respect. I find you on the way. I stop and I say, hello, how are you? By stopping, I'm respecting you. And you'll have nothing else to do other than also stopping and answering me, I guess, because it will be a shocker. I do it at school. Many times I find the children, I'm walking, you find a group of students, they all just pass by you. Then you're like, excuse me, please stand. They're like, I just wanted to say hello to you. Good morning. And they all feel like earth open and we enter. You see? Respect them. So next time they find you, they'll be the first to say hello, teacher. Because you started by respecting them. You know, it's good to know how the other one is feeling. You find somebody seated and you're like, yes, are you okay? Or do you need my help? That is respect. I wish you could do that. Respect the people in authority. There are these ground workers, there are these villagers at home, there are these people that you think are really lowly. But those people do a lot in making our lives worth living. There's certain things that you cannot do, and they do for you. I'm looking at the people who clean your toilets, or latrines at school. You may bypass them thinking they are lowly and you cannot do anything. They cannot do anything for you. But if you found the toilets full and all dirty, would you be able to enter there? But you want to ease yourself. Say hello to them. It doesn't take a lot from you. Just say hello to them and that will be it. Say thank you to them. Say sorry if you've hurt them. And it's something small. It's a sign of respect and it really works. Now, I want to be a little faster because our time is fast spent. Teacher Stephen, let's go to the next one. Okay. I want to speak about bullying. Bullying in schools is real. We bully the newcomers and they're coming. We bully the newcomers. We bully the people that we think are weaker than us. We bully even the teachers and make it life a little hard for them. This bullying can be emotional. You play around people's emotions and they really feel bad. A teacher is coming to class and then you draw this funny picture about the teacher in class and you put a nasty comment. It's like that the teacher enters class and is like, I cannot teach here. Emotionally, they are down and maybe they even fail to teach and move out of class. It's not a very good thing to do. It may not be your teacher. It may be your fellow colleague in class. Somebody comes, you've taken out their chair and they have nowhere to sit and they have to stand during the lesson, or they have to move out and look for a seat as others are studying. It might be not so good. It might be physical. I know some of you are violent. You bully each other, you beat each other. I've seen people that pour maybe water on other people's beddings. They do all kinds of things that are terrible. That is bullying. It's not good, and it is you'll get punished by God. You'll get punished by God. So don't bully others. Don't make life hard for others. You went to school to learn. Help each other learn, so that you come out as the best that you could all be at the end of the day. Teacher Stephen, next one. Okay. Also want to talk about co-curricular. There's so many things. You can't stay in a books and read and read and read and become a bookworm and do nothing else. You will definitely run mad. So engage in co-curricular activities. Do some bit of debating. So many people are thriving because of debate. Go for sports. I've seen people, yeah, getting up there because of sports. Join clubs, MDD, health clubs, cookery club, Red Cross, and there's so many clubs. Join a club such that when you are the head is full of reading, you have somewhere where you can push off some of that stuff and relax and do something else that is useful. Go for those other things. Art and crafts, use your hands, learn a skill, practice something. All the things are good and they can help you get somewhere in life. It doesn't have to be books, 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 books all the time. You can change your head to do something else that is also beautiful and educative. Yes, let's talk about something else, teacher Steven. Then self-care. You are what you eat. Feed well, eat healthy. Don't, just eat all the junk and think this is this and so on. You at school, you know what is healthy. Try to fit in well. Then there are those of you that don't want to eat because of one reason or another. You're doing a lot of brain work. Without feeding your body, that brain will not work. Care for yourself. If you are sick, please go to the dispensary and get medication. When you are hurt, please go and get treatment, get a remedy for every problem that you have. But if you keep with all that baggage on you, you will not thrive at all. Practice hygiene, clean where you stay such that you don't fall sick. Some of you like, I fear this, our nurse is rude. In boarding schools, they look at nurses as being rude, and it's rare to find a nurse that is loved by students. But you have nothing to do. Please go there. Dress well. When you're smart, when you know you're clean, even your confidence is elevated. For me, when I'm smart, I believe everything that I'm going to do and say should also be smart. So I'll work hard to ensure that everything that comes out of me is smart. So dress well, be clean, iron your uniform, and, heighten that confidence in you, and the day will be okay. Smell good, invest in a deodorant, invest in a perfume. If you cannot afford it, just be clean. Make sure you've bathed, you're putting on clean clothes, and you're smart and looking good, and people will feel good being around you. But if you're this person, when everybody comes near you, they are like touching their nose, they're running away from you because your mouth is terrible, they're because your shoe is smelling, and you will not interact with people well. You'll also feel uncomfortable, or they'll make your life uncomfortable because you're also not making theirs okay. So you will not be able to stay in class and enjoy the lessons. I want to talk about, let's see the next slide. We are winding up. Don't get so tired. I can see people running away. I want to talk about financial discipline. When you go to school, these days we have projects that we do, and we can be able to get some money through these projects. If you engaged in a project that brings in some money, save, and then be able to use this money to start at something. It's the beginning of, teaching you how to make money, but also you learn how to spend money. You don't have to spend every coin that you get. Keep a little, save a little. By the end of the day, you can do something really huge. They give you pocket money, you can decide that Out of this pocket money, I'll use half, and half is supposed to be saved. When they come for visitation, you get again half and add on the savings. When you go home, you do something and everybody will be surprised. You're like, where did you get this money? You're like, I did some bit of saving. You're teaching yourself something. That's the discipline we were talking about. I want you to know yourself and know where you come from. Know how much your parents earn. I would love you to know how they hustle to get the money. Because if you just get everything and you don't know how it's got, you'll be, you'll spend it the way you want. But if you know how it's got and you respect the way it was got, you will not just misuse it. You'll not misuse it. Do not try to be like the others because you are not all the same. You might be from a very rich family. You might be from a very poor family. You might be from an average family. Know where you belong and behave accordingly. But even those who come from very rich families, I want to remind us that this money is our parents' money. For you, you're just carving your future. You're not yet there. What you're spending is not yours. So ensure you give time to your studies in order to be able to spend or to be able to afford the things that your parents are giving you. You may have everything at your plate right now, and then you grow up and cannot even afford to buy a television in your house because you didn't give your attention to your work. So be disciplined financially. Know where you come from, but also know that this is within my means. If something is outside your means, then you don't have to go out there. Maybe at this time, I want to chip in something for our parents. I don't know whether we have parents here, but I want to talk to the parents also and say financial discipline also goes to you. You don't need to splash a lot of money on these children. Give them what is necessary. Give them what they need. But at times where we are not present, we think we can compensate it with money, and we give money even when the children don't need it. Because they don't need it, they end up using it on silly things. That's the money they'll use to buy drugs. That's the money they will use to go into relationships. That's the money they will use to do all sorts of funny things. So don't just splash your money. Teach your children the value of money. Teach them that money doesn't just come like that, and it shouldn't be just splashed. We give it to you when you need it, but not to give it for the sake of giving or for the sake of bragging. Then as parents, we also need to know who we are. You may want, or you may get pressure from your child. For me, I want to go to certain school. I have to go to certain school. But you as a parent, you cannot afford it. Why stress yourself? These are children that you begat yourselves. Talk to them, explain to them that, I cannot afford this. What I can afford is this. So this can fit in such a school. Please go there. Even from here, as long as you work hard, you can get to that thing that you want to get to. Be within your means. Don't force yourself to do things that you can't. Maybe you're going for a school that entails that you pay fees that is maybe 6 times your monthly salary. Where are you going to get that money? You'll end up getting loans and loans and loans. You'll not feel comfortable. You'll get annoyed with everybody. You'll get annoyed with the school. You'll get annoyed with your child. You'll get annoyed with yourself. And, life will really be hard. You get depressed. You'll get stressed up, and we'll see you as a lunatic finally. Don't run mad because of children. Do what is within your means. I want us as parents now to respect our children. I was telling the children to respect us, but we also need to respect them. They may be children, but they're also human beings. And when you show them respect, you'll force them to respect you. They will automatically do that. 75% of what we do is what the children will also do. What we teach them, they only learn 15%. Only 15% of what we tell them to do is what they will learn. The rest they copy, they model what we do. So be a good role model. I want us to be good listeners. These children are going through a lot. They've been bombarded with a lot. There is a lot they know that we don't know. There is a lot that is happening on, they have phones, they have TVs, they have information comes from everywhere, and they get to know it. So they are struggling, they are depressed, and they need to have our listening ear. If a child comes up to talk to you, please listen. Even if you don't have a solution, just listen to what they're saying. Listen as they're talking without blaming them, without doing anything, and listen and listen and listen. Just knowing that there is somebody who can listen to me is enough. Later, even if you don't understand it, you will tell them, calm down, my son, calm down, my daughter. It must be really something huge that you're going through, but I think we'll get a solution to it together. That is enough. Even when you don't know what to do, assure them that you are with them, you've listened, and you're feeling their problem like they're feeling it. Then you get to a solution. Some of those children are being defiled at home, at school. Some of them have been raped. They're being used by the homosexuals at school. Maybe they're rotting even down there, but they cannot come to you because you're too hard. You don't want to listen. Okay? Somebody tries to tell you, I don't want to go to that school. Instead of finding out the reason why, you're like, that's where I want you to go. I'm your father. Yes, you are the father. But there is somebody who is molesting them from there. And if only you could listen, you'd be able to know that. And when things get out of hand, we blame everybody apart from ourselves. Let's be good listeners. Let's get involved in what the children do. The children are watching TV. You don't like TV, but you can sit there for some 30 minutes. Talk as they're watching, disturb them. Hey, what is happening now? What is that story about? You know what? I don't follow TV. I'm not a fan of TV, and maybe because of my eyes and so on. But once in a while, you see it and ask them, what is the storyline? Eh? What are they? They're like, this cartoon did this, then this one is going to do this, then this one, and that is what happens, and so on. You get a clue, and using your mature brain, you'll be able to know that this one is not good for them, or this one is good for them. Or you find a way of warning them about the effects of continuing to watch that. So I think we need to get involved in what our children do. Then we need to guide them. They're just but children. And we've experienced most of the things, and we know what can go wrong or what can get out of hand. Let's guide them, tell them, talk to them, explain certain things. Explain certain things and tell them that when you do this, this is what happens. When this happens, this is what happens. Let them understand. Don't just say, don't do this. Help them understand why you don't want them to do it. And when they get to know this, they'll be able to work from an informed point of view. And I want to assure you that they won't go wrong. I'm not supposed to do this because when you do this, this is what happens. But if you just say no, 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 they will be forced to try it out and see why you are refusing them to try it out. I want us to explain that's what I'm emphasizing. And then value their input. Whenever they do something, or whenever you're involving them, maybe in a discussion, you want to agree about something, and you've involved them. Now we want to go to the school. We have to get a place. Let's go together. They see how you're hustling to get a place, a vacancy for them. They see how you're hustling to get money. They see other parents struggling and crying and doing what? You've involved them. Then when you sit back and say, Now, this is what we've got. This is what we have on table. How do we divide this? Divide this amongst us and so on. You know, we have to buy food, we have to pay fees, we have to have medical fees and so on. So how do we divide it? They know what is there. They know all the stakeholders, and they know that each one has to share a piece of what you've presented. You know, they will be more understanding. And when they suggest something, value it. If you really feel it's childish, explain to them why you think it may not work. For me, it has worked. For me, I'm like, we have this 1M, and we have this, and this. What do we start with in order to be fair for all of us? We are 5, we have this, we have to share it. Like this, there is this and this and this and this. Then one will say, maybe we do this and this. Maybe we buy this and leave this. Maybe you just shelve this and do this. You involve them, they know what is there, and they'll not imagine. But we make our children believe we have a lot of money, and that this money is theirs, and maybe, you know, they become selfish at times, not because they're selfish really, but because they don't know what else needs to be attended to, and they imagine you have it all. So value their input, explain, involve them in making decisions, but you can also involve them in looking for the money, in making the money. If you're a shopkeeper, let them come to the shop and do some bit of selling, and they know what it means. I know what it means. Let them know what you do, the difficulties that are there and the good things that are there. Let them learn something, such that in case maybe you're no more, they can take over, and you know, the family business will thrive. Then let's model godliness in our children. Pray with them, teach them to pray. And when you teach them to pray, they will not forget to pray for you. Teach them to pray and they will not forget it. Train up a child in the way you want them to be, and when they grow up, they will never depart from it. That's what the Bible says. Model what you want your child to become. Be the best for their sake, and create a name for them, a name that they will be proud of, such that even if you are not there, or when they want to introduce themselves, they'll start by introducing you. I'm so and so, somebody's child. Whose child? The me. But if they're scared of mentioning your name in front of others, then we know that you failed as a parent. Now, I want to end with this, to most especially the children. I'm back to the children. As you go back to school, please be appreciative. Thank your parents for keeping you for these 2 months, for providing for you everything that they've given you. Say thank you. When they give you school fees, please take time off and say thank you, because it's a sacrifice. They also need that money, but that they're giving it to you, say thank you, appreciate them. Then finally, I want to say, pray for your parents. Today they are there and they can give you whatever you want. You never know, tomorrow they may be dead. Pray that they stay alive. Pray that they thrive at whatever they're doing. Pray that they continue to provide for you. I thank you very much for listening to me. I wish you a wonderful term, and I pray that you'll all come back fit and back to help school, such that we can continue from where we are ending today. May God bless you. Teacher Stephen, I'm ending there.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Agnes, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. I understand now we have people who may have some questions. Kindly, in case you have any question, kindly raise up your hand and ask. Yes, Rafa. Raphael? Okay. In case you have any question, it can be Mr. Joseph is asking, yes, we shall be able to share the presentation and the recording for the meeting. Those who may need them, we shall be able to share on our different platforms. Vincent? Vincent, do you have a question? Okay, it seems we do not have any questions. Anyone with a question? It can be a question in line with a career, it can be a question in line with a school, anything within the scope that teacher Agnes has talked about. Anything? Okay, I think, okay, yes, Rafael.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Kaziwa. Mine is just a word of thanks to Madam Agnes Nabiri. Please, thank you so very much for the wonderful and the motivational words that you've shared with us. You've really changed many of us, and I want to thank you so very much. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
You're welcome, sir. May God bless you too.
Okay, thank you so much, all those people that have been able to join the call. We are really very happy. Our orientation is going to continue. We shall have another session tomorrow. We shall have another session tomorrow, and tomorrow we shall be going into the digital world. We shall be sharing more with the students on how they can utilize the gadgets they have at home to make research, how they will be able to make the different presentations. We shall also share with them how to make presentations, how to research for work, how to do the typing, how to use the phones they have to be more productive with those gadgets. So that is the session we shall have tomorrow. And on Thursday, we shall let you know whether we shall have a session. But the session we are having on Thursday, we are planning to invite the director from DIT, but we are yet to confirm whether he will be able to fit within our program. But we are going to have many sessions concerning the new curriculum for the parents and the teachers on the call. And then for the students, we shall be guiding you, and also shall share with you different learning materials that you can use in your studies. Otherwise, I'm really very happy for all those people that have been able to sacrifice their data, to sacrifice their time to join the call. Dear members and dear friends, thank you so much. We are really very happy, and I know together we shall be able to transform this country and also change our education system. Once again, I want to thank Teacher Agnes. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be our facilitator. We are really very happy. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I know very soon we shall again invite you to talk to the parents across the country. Thank you so much once again. May the good Lord bless you all. I want to say that we are going to end our meeting at this point, unless Teacher Agnes, you have anything you want to say before we close off the meeting.
I don't have much to say, Teacher Stephen, but I want to thank you for always giving me an opportunity to impact on these young fellows. I just pray that they get something or they learn something from what we tell them, and that they will turn out to be very good citizens that will form the new generation that you're really trying to create now. Thank you very much for all that you do for them and for organizing us to impact on them. May God bless you too.
Okay, God bless you. Thank you so much. Sarah, do you have anything? Oh. Okay, let's meet tomorrow at 2 for another session. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good evening, everyone. The recording will be shared on the WhatsApp group, and also shall upload the presentation on YouTube. Thank you. Have a nice evening.